Thank you so much.
Swati, do you want me to start now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It has started. I'll be welcoming you and introducing you to the audience. Yes, ma'am. The best view comes after the hardest climb is the maxim we strive to stride on through the ongoing lecture series being organized every weekend. With that being said, let's begin today's session. A pleasant evening and hearty welcome to our most honorable principal, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Nanda ma'am, IQAC coordinator, Dr. Nisha Vashisht ma'am, staff advisor, Dr. Yasha Yadav ma'am, other faculty members of the department, and all the participants present here. I, Swati V. Chaudhary, the president of Synapse, the Zoology Society of Miranda House, take the privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the entire Zoology department to the next session of the lecture series on Career Counseling Way Forward. Friends, the theme of today's session is Think Beyond Normal. Let me now introduce to you the most astounding guest speaker of the day, Dr. Megha Mittal, Executive Coach and Leadership Facilitator. A very convivial welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Swati. Thank you so much for
Ma'am
having me.
Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am is a behavioral psychologist by education and change practitioner by passion who catalyzes measurable results in organizations by adopting future-ready skills in today's changing scenario. We can truly take pride in the fact that ma'am is alumna of batch 2007 BSc Zoology Honors, Miranda House. She has completed her MSc from Delhi University in 2009 and her PhD in 2012. Being a firm believer in ramp of success rather than ladder of success, she has established her very own organization, Differentia Consultants, built on sheer commitment to bring the best out of inspiring leaders, helping people to collaborate, co-create, co-evolve with each other. Ma'am has 9 years of experience of working with clients from diverse backgrounds such as HSBC, ISM, EY, Walmart, IBM, Indian Oil Corporation, L'Oreal, Axis Bank, Maruti Suzuki, and many more. Ma'am has delivered more than 1,100 days of classroom workshops, 4,500 hours of executive coaching with top management and middle management in past 9 years. Beginning her career as a professional image consultant and personal brand specialist, her curiosity has led her becoming a certified administrator from Bates, XPI USA, Leadership Management International USA, Blue Ocean Strategist, and many more. Friends, let me also inform you all that we will be having a question answer session in the end, so you can put up your queries in the chat box. Also, a feedback form will be shared with you all, so kindly spare a few minutes to fill the same. Certificates will be given only if you fill the feedback form successfully. Now, without any further ado, let me invite Dr. Megha Mittal ma'am to address the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Swati, for such kind, lovely words. I don't know whether I actually have done so much or not. Seemed like a lot to me. So thank you so much. I think I should say only ladies because I have lovely ladies. I'm so sorry. We are so used to of saying good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we only have ladies today. Is it, Swati?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There are teacher, faculty members as well, but the audience mostly is from our college.
Lovely, fantastic. So very, very good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You already know my name and absolutely an honor to be there where I used to be in your shoes, how I used to feel between 2004 to 2007 when I was doing my graduation, had no clue what am I going to do further, not the kind of personality, the one that I'm sitting right in front of you. I am somebody who was so introvert, and probably Dr. Nisha Vashisht, Nisha ma'am would be the testimony to this, that what kind of an introvert person I used to be. And yes, things turned around for me. So today the topic I've taken is Think Beyond Normal. Reason? I'm only here to share my story, my experience, how I have done things in my life, and how do I look at things. So if I'll quickly share my screen, Swati, I'm going to share my screen. That will stop
Yes,
your
ma'am,
sharing.
sure. You can, ma'am.
So guys, the first thing I'm going to share is what you see on the screen. The reason I said that the girl who was an introvert. So that's actually me, how I used to look when I was 22. So this was me, 93 kgs at that time. I had gained a lot of weight post my MSc and due to multiple factors. So I was weighing about 93 kgs till I was 25. And you can see the girl who's there, absolute introvert, had no clue about life, what she's supposed to do, what she's not supposed to do. And that's the reason I said that we're going to have a quick discussion through Think Beyond Normal. So I'm a firm believer of the fact what Coco Chanel had said it popularly. And here, beauty, I don't mean just external beauty, beauty of your soul, beauty of an individual. So the first thing which we all need to start doing, I realized it very late. My self-awareness about my own beauty happened very late, probably somewhere around late 20s of my life. And girls, probably I would recommend, you know, it's better you realize it today itself, because beauty doesn't need any certificate from someone. And beauty doesn't mean how you look. Beauty is all about what kind of mindset you have. Beauty is all about how you look at other people. Beauty is all about what kind of path do you choose in your life. And the beauty happens the moment you decide to be yourself. This is my first lesson in my life. Instead of trying to ape somebody else, I think my lesson in life is that let me be my authentic self. Let me be vulnerable. At the same time, so I'll quickly tell you what, I thought I'm going to share my story. So if you look at this, 2004 to 2007, I did my graduation from Miranda House in zoology. Very, very introvert child. Was really helped by my professors and few good friends who really tried to ask me to actually encourage me, motivate me that I can do a little better. So I was a very different person from year 1 to year 3. My professors encouraged me. I saw very powerful women around me. We used to have, so the one of the professors, Dr. Tanima Bose, she's retired now. She was one professor who nurtured us. Then we had different professors. Dr. Nisha Vashisht, she used to be a youth icon for all of us. I still remember we would keep looking at Nisha ma'am when she would walk the corridors. So that's the way I started looking at myself when I was in graduation. Then, of course, post-graduation, looked at my MSc, master's in zoology only. And if you see 2009, when I did my master's, I had 3 options at that time. I thought that either I could continue with my studies in zoology and post that either I can become a professor, a teacher, or I can do B.Ed, like I can come towards a teaching side, or I can get into research, or like a few of my friends did, they joined multiple government institute as environmental specialist or any other subject matter specialist. So I thought that probably one option could be that for me in 2009. The second option, which a lot of my friends did, they actually left the BSc, MSc, or the zoology route, and they picked up MBA or any other management programs because they wanted to enter the corporate world. And the third option, I was 23 at that time, was that get married and become a happy homemaker. Any guesses? Anyone would want to make a wild guess? Which option I would have taken? You can use the chat and let me know. What do you think? I chose option 1, 2, 3. Which one happened with me? Anybody wants to put in the chat? I'll also get to know whether you're listening to me or not. 2, 1. Okay. What else? 2. Fantastic. 1. Lovely. Option 1. Option 1. Lovely. So you know what, girls? 2. Fantastic. 2. Lovely. You know what, girls? Actually, that's a twist to the story. The option that I chose, or the option that happened to me, was option number 3. June, I got my degree from zoology department that I've completed my master's. July, was engaged. November 2009, I was married. And I come from a very, very, very conservative Bania family, a typical Bania family. And where they think that if we are getting a right match, why don't we pick it up? So I don't have any regrets towards my parents that they thought that it's better if you're getting a good match. What's wrong in it? Let's get you married. There's nothing wrong in making you married. So I was married at the age of 23. And that's when actually the story actually began. Married in a conservative family. You're aware of Delhi side. So from South Delhi, because I used to stay in South Delhi, I was married towards North Delhi in a very, very, very different culture. The reason I say different culture, the family was very different. The family had their own notions towards women, what kind of women should be there in the family, women who are docile. I got married to an absolutely patriarchal family where women are supposed to be palla clad, cover themselves, do not open your mouth unless you're asked. If you do that, then actually that's considered as an insult to the men in the family. And that's the kind of family I was married. And at that time, initially I thought, okay, let me try to adjust. So started adjusting, left everything for about 7 8 months, did not do anything. And suddenly one fine day I realized that my head has started aching over here, and my headache wasn't going. And that time I was admitted in Gangaram Hospital for about 2 weeks. They said that I've got acute migraine, and this migraine was not going. I had actually fallen into depression. There's a form of depression, silent depression. I didn't even realize it, that initially I was so sulking with the overall ambience of the family. The I don't want to call the suffering, but the culture of the family, I was actually falling into depression. And that's when my doctor recommended that time to my family, my in-laws, that it's better you actually make her do something, get her involved in something. She's falling into very silent depression, because I was not used to of that kind of lifestyle. Morning you wake up at 6ish, get into the kitchen, think about it, what needs to be cooked. By the time it's breakfast, you start thinking about the lunch. By the time lunch is done, you start thinking about the evening snacks. By the time evening is done, you start thinking about, oh, what's going to be cooked in the dinner. And that's it. And that's the reason my doctor asked my family that if you want to save this girl, because I was falling into very, very severe depression, let her get involved in something. So my family said that, okay, what do you want to do? Obviously, my first choice was that, listen, I've done my BSc, MSc. Let me appear for my PhD. Let me appear for my examination and continue my education. And that was not an option. Full-time PhD? No, that was not any possible option. Job? No. They asked me that, why don't you do B.Ed and become a teacher in the school? Somehow I said, there's nothing wrong in that profession, but I don't see myself doing it. I can't do that. And so I thought that let me pick up a PhD option, which is going to be part-time. So I knew one of my aunt, and she said that, why don't you start picking up something, because your background is in science. Why don't you start picking up something in behavioral aspects? So I started studying about building optimism. Why optimism? Because I think I had become so negative in my life at that time. I was going through a marriage which was abusive in a lot of manner, physically, emotionally, mentally. And so I thought, let me do something in terms of optimism. Probably that might make me optimism, positive about my own life. Did that. And the biggest turnaround, the biggest change of my life happened in the year 2011. I was supposed to do a dissertation. I was studying about building optimism. And there was a friend of my own father. And he said, he was actually a jail superintendent. He said, listen, why don't you come to Tihar once? Tihar jail, if anybody knows about it. So he asked me that, why don't you come to Tihar once? I said, uncle, what am I going to do at Tihar? He said, come over to Tihar. We have a placement cell over there. Why don't you come, spend some time in Tihar jail, study those people. So you will also get points in your dissertation. And secondly, you will also get to see, probably able to help them with their basic communication and everything. I said, okay, let me try. I went to Tihar jail the first time. Guys, I don't know if you've been to Tihar jail inside. It's a very different world. Once you enter the jail, there is no convict, there is no prisoner, there is nobody as a cop inside. Everyone is in casuals, except the convicts are wearing white color. But everybody is in casuals, and it's like a huge park with some buildings. It's like a huge apartment, some kind of condo over there. Okay. And that's it. It's a free world. You do whatever you want to do inside, right? And I entered. Of course, I was petrified to the core, had no idea. I was such an introvert person. Tihar turned me around. That was a place when I realized that I have been thinking about my sufferings in life. That's actually nothing compared to what people go through. While I was in Tihar, and Tihar has different jails. So Tihar in Delhi has about like 7 jails. Out of those 7 different jails, there is one which is only for women, one which is for the kids between 19 to 21 when they come from the juvenile, and then the regular ones, one where you have actually all the convicts over there. So while I was there in Tihar, and once I got an opportunity to work with women, there was this one girl, and I was asked to work with her. Why? She had already tried to commit suicide thrice. And you know why? The girl, IIT Mumbai pass out, the girl, IIM Ahmedabad pass out, she poisoned her entire family of in-laws, her husband, her mother-in-law, her father-in-law within 7 months of marriage. She was so brutally abused by them for dowry. And she killed everybody. She poisoned everybody instead of killing herself. And she used to say this, that why should I kill myself? They are the ones who are giving me suffering. And I started working with that girl. She had become so negative. When I worked with her, she turned my life completely. Completely. She was in life imprisonment and she was going through a lot of psychological issues. I started working with her and I still talk to her. She's still in Tihar. She's doing her studies further. She's actually become a teacher in the placement cell. And I realized that, I need to choose in my life, what do I want to do? Do I want to work on myself? Or do I want to choose one of these paths, either kill myself or kill somebody else? What do I want to do? And that's when I realized, I decided rather that let me start working on myself. So the first thing I did was, I was always humiliated for my looks, for my weight. First thing I did was, I did a sustainable dietitian course from Mayo Clinic. And Mayo, it was a part-time one, Mayo in US. And I started losing my own weight. So I'm a sustainable dietitian. I thought first thing I need to do is I need to work on my own body, because I have so much of negative image about myself. When I look at myself in the mirror, I don't feel good about myself. At least I need to start looking good for my own self, something that makes me happy rather than making everybody else happy. So I started making myself happy then. I did my first course on my dietitian thing. And then I thought, listen, I really want to work on my own image. And I completed my PhD. That's the time I was blessed with my daughter, who's 8 years now. And I realized that, listen, now I genuinely need to start working on myself. So I did my first course in image management through Concel. I did that. That image management course turned my life around, because that course taught me that, okay, there are so many other aspects of image, of beauty. Beauty is not just about the complexion, the features, the looks. So after doing my graduation, post-graduation, PhD, the first course I did was image consultancy. And that course really helped me to build up my confidence. And I realized that I am genuinely enjoying to work with people. I'm enjoying when I can turn things around. And that's when my journey started. My daughter was 3 months old at that time. I left her at home. While I was pregnant with her, I completed my course. I did my course. I still remember I used to go on my classes till the time I was in 9 months, full bloated, but still I would go for my classes, because probably that was my escape mechanism. I did not want to stay at home because the home ambience was still the same, all full of abuses, everything. So I thought, let me go out and start working. And then I did my course. And since then, my life turned around. I did one course, second course, third course. I kept on doing courses after courses, courses after courses. I even went to Harvard to study my coaching. This year, if the pandemic is fine, I am off to Columbia for 1 year. I'm going to Columbia University to study the most flagship program in coaching. The reason I kept on doing all these courses, I realized that probably there is something that I want to do in my life with people's behavior. What is a behavior? Behavior is something which others can demonstrate. You must have heard people asking you that, listen, be honest, be disciplined, be punctual. Now, a lot of these things are very subjective. Nobody knows what do you mean by honesty. So honesty might have a different meaning for me. Honesty might have a very different meaning for Swati. Honesty might be having a very different meaning for Chaitanya. And that's the reason I'm a behavioral coach. I tell people, listen, if you want me to be honest, tell me 5 things I should do that will make you feel that I'm an honest person. If you want me to take ownership, commitment, please tell me 5 things I should be doing that is actually commitment for you and me, ownership and accountability for you and me. And that's the kind of work I do with people. Yes, my work, as Swati was telling you, I work across the globe, multiple organizations. For me, I think I am in a profession where every day is a new day for me, because every day I meet up a new client. Every time there are new challenges. So today morning, like right now I'm traveling, but today morning I had a session with the Maruti itself, and these guys wanted to ask about their branding. So for me, every day is a new client, every day is a new challenge, and that's the kind of life I live when I start working on people's behavior. One, I'll tell you the benefits of my profession. Number one, it gives me absolute freedom. What do I want to do? I'm not answerable to anybody. I take my breaks the way I want to take. I work the way I want to work. So right now, because of the virtual world, I work probably morning 5 a.m. for Japan, where I'll be delivering some session for JP Morgan. At night, 11 o'clock, I will log in for Mexico, where I will deliver some session for HSBC. So that's the kind of life I live. Whenever I want breaks, I take my breaks. That's the first perk. Second perk. My second perk is my profession allows me to be a better version of myself every single moment, because whenever I'm trying to share something with people, I learn as well. And for the past few years, I have already done more than 16 professional courses. I have been studying one after another. So my profession really allows me. There's no limit to my profession that post this, I can't do anything else. There's no threshold. When I was in Harvard, I met a coach from Australia who was 93, and he inspired me so much. He had done total 172 courses in his life. And that's the kind of world I'm into. Whichever way I want to study, I study that. Number three, my profession allows me to be with the best of the corporate houses. Either you talk about Walmart CEO, EY CEO, JP Morgan CEO, HSBC CEO, I work with these people. I work with a lot of politicians. Currently, I'm working with 3 politicians on their overall image. I work with a lot of businessmen. When I did my image course, I was the highest paid image consultant in the entire country who would work with all the Marwadi girls. I started working with Marwadi girls. Anybody with a wedding budget of 20 crores and above, I would start working with those girls to on their confidence. I've been a speaker at multiple organizations, colleges, finishing schools. The last perk of my profession, I don't know whether I should call it as a perk or not, because I always use one statement that money has been a byproduct in my profession. So, guys, I know the stage where we are, money becomes the biggest motivation factor. It is important that, listen, how much I'm going to earn, right? The profession that I am into, there's no limit to money. There's genuinely no limit to money. And that's how this profession works. You can earn anywhere between 1,000 USD to 2,000 USD per hour if you become an executive coach, depending on the credentials that you have. But as I said, money is genuinely a byproduct. The last and the biggest gratitude of my profession, when somebody says, thank you so much, Megha, thank you so much, Doc, you have made a difference to my life. And that's the time when I sleep. That's what that motivates me. Anybody saying, Megha, you have made a difference to my life. Thank you so much for motivating me. Thank you for changing my life. And I can't tell you how I feel when people say that. I've cried multiple times looking at people's feedback. And people who are giving me this feedback are ranging from as young as 17-year-old. I worked with a drug addict. He was a politician's son. I worked with that boy, helped him to come out of drugs addiction. And now he's studying in Oxford. And as old as 83-year-old, I worked with the CEOs of different companies, including Mr. Somani, who heads Hindware brand. I worked with him when he was going through some issues in his will, while he was dividing his wealth between his sons. I tried to help over there. So I work as a business coach, a leadership coach, and majorly a change practitioner. Anybody and everybody, when they're going through changes in life, personally, professionally, socially, That's where I come into picture to tell people what kind of behaviors they can demonstrate. Now, guys, let me come to what options you have in 2021. We are in a different year. My options were in 2009. Let me share your options as per me. Firstly, guys, there's nothing. So those three options, the one that I shared in 2009, they are still here, very much here. First, if you want to keep pursuing your further studies in zoology, and if you're really wanting to do that, you can do that. Second, again, you can choose those MBAs and the management options. Third, yes, the way it happened with me, you can get married as well and become a happy homemaker. A lot of my friends are. The three options which I think you can become now, which are really coming. Number one, guys, think of being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur doesn't mean that you need to come up with a setup of a manufacturing or a factory unit. You could be an entrepreneur if you have an idea. If you have the power to convert your idea into an action, you can be an entrepreneur. And believe you me, there is nothing as a benchmark for being an innovative idea. The point is how much you believe in that idea. So you can be an entrepreneur in any field, any field. Carol Dweck, who came up with this world growth mindset, she's a Stanford professor, and she has said this. It's been proven biologically that human brain can make new connections anytime. So it's not necessary that if you are studying zoology, you are meant to do certain things. You cannot be good with negotiation or selling skills. If you are studying zoology, you cannot be good in designing. So it's nothing stereotypical. I am not this yet, or I am this yet. So start recognizing these fixed voices in your head. There is nothing as that I am good at this, I am not good at this. So first thing, my lovely ladies, stop bucketing yourself. Science has proven that. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, think about it. Second, do you want to come towards the creative space? So I write a lot. I really write a lot. I sketch a lot. And that's when zoology has really helped me. Why? A lot of times people ask me, how do you work so hard? And that's when came from my graduation. We all know how much we work. We know when everybody else is free at 3 or 4, we are still working in our labs. Post that, when we come back, we are working on our files. We are studying throughout the time. There's no end to our study. So we guys get so adapted, so used to working hard, that now it really doesn't matter to me. Sketches, believe you me, a lot of my LinkedIn posts are on sketching. I do leadership sketches, and that's just come from zoology. People ask me, why did you do zoology? What that your degree went as a waste? I said, no, whatever I am because of it. Because that taught me the relevance of hard work, not to give up. And that's how it happened. So the second option for you is, if you want to be towards a creative space, photographer, writer, blogger, cook, healing, there are multiple options. And the third is, do you want to have an influence in the society, politics, nation, anything, guys? Feel free to do that. There is nothing that this is right, this is wrong. But you know what? As you can see, there's a disclaimer on the top. Ginny Rometty, one of the most influential women on this planet, ex-IBM chairperson, she had said it once. Growth and comfort do not happen together. But at the same time, I say that there's definitely comfort in growth. So if you want to grow, forget comfort over there. If you want to be comfortable, then probably forget growth over there. So guys, the truth is, I don't know any option which is going to be an easy option. I'm yet to meet a successful person who's not a hard worker. This I can tell you. Having been experienced or working with people across the domains, across world, I do not know a single successful person who's not hardworking. So there's no escape to that hard work. But today I'm going to share something with you, which might help you, because that's one of the most popular workshop I do with different organizations, different countries. I'm going to share that concept with you. Has anybody in the room heard of Ikigai? If yes, feel free to put in the chat your thoughts around it. What is Ikigai? If anybody has heard of this term, Ikigai, Ikigai, it's a Japanese concept. Yeah, who has read? Anybody who would want to share? Hey, Megha, we share the name. Yes, there is one book. Megha, we share the name with each other. So one Megha is telling other Megha, listen, I've heard about it. Something that motivates you to keep working. Way of living. Fantastic. Anybody else? Do you know how do you figure out your Ikigai? So I'm a certified Ikigai practitioner. I was in Japan, and this was something that happened absolutely by chance. 4 years back, I was in Japan, and that's when I was working for Toyota. And Toyota offered me, listen, we are doing this 1 day workshop for Ikigai. Do you want to attend? And I was absolutely free. Any learning happening, and I go for that learning. So I said, okay, let me try it out. I tried and I loved it so much. I did a complete course on being an Ikigai practitioner. It's a book on human well-being, human health, and how about to live a long life. Fantastic. You guys are absolutely right. The question is, do you know your Ikigai? Do you really know your Ikigai in life? Have you ever taken a pause? Guys, pause in a sense, literally a pause. Taken a pause, looked at yourself, and just have this reflection, self-reflection. What is my Ikigai? So guys, allow me, and that's probably the only theory I have for you, because I myself do not believe in theory. So let me share what is Ikigai and how you can figure out your Ikigai, how at least I figured out my Ikigai. I'm sorry for all the background noises. My two brats are all in the room right now, and they are making noises on top of their voice. Okay, so guys, Ikigai in literal meaning, it means a reason for being. Why are you here? Why are you here? And Ikigai is applicable at all aspects of life. You can have an Ikigai in your personal life, that why am I here? You can have it in your professional life, that why am I doing this? You can have an Ikigai of your student life. Why am I here in zoology? Why? It's the why behind the what that you do. So if you look at the screen, Ikigai has these 4 circles. Remember, we used to study something like a Venn diagram. It's like those Venn diagram. The first question of this Venn diagram is, what are you good at? Do you have skills in you? And these skills could mean anything. These skills have nothing to do with your academic marks. It has nothing to do whether you are in distinction, a 90 plus, 80 plus, 70 plus, or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. Are you skilled? It could be cooking, dancing, singing, writing, people, relationships, anything. Are you skilled in doing something? So what are you good at? The second thing Ikigai asks you to consider is, listen, you might be good in doing something. Do you love doing it? Or do you only do it because you've been asked to do it? I have met multiple corporate people in my life, multiple. They are brilliant in management. They're probably brilliant in marketing, brilliant in sales. At the end of the day, they don't love it. They do it because they get exorbitantly paid for it, but they don't love it. So Ikigai clearly says, what you're doing, do you love it? Are you passionate towards it? Does it make you feel like, what did I say? Guys, I'm very good with human behavior, but I can't tell you how I feel when somebody says that, thank you so much, Megha, for making a difference in my life. That turns my world around. And that's what drives me every morning to get up from my bed, get off, and get back to work. So do you love what you do? Or you're just doing it for any reason in this planet? The third question Ikigai wants you to ask is, fine, you might be good in doing something, you're even passionate about it. Does world need it? Do you think there is a need for that skill? So for example, if I'm a behavioral coach, I know people need it. I know organizations need it. I know individuals who need it. I have my own niche audience. So I know people want people want an external person to come up and give a perspective. Believe me, there's nothing new that I tell people. And they always say that, listen, my boss has been asking me to do so. My wife has been asking me to do so. My friend has been asking me to do so, but I don't do it. Yeah, you are asking me, so I'll do it. Because they always want a third person. So guys, do you think what you are good at, what you are passionate about, do you think the world needs it? We have so many examples. If you go from Make My Trip to Zomato to Swiggy, anywhere, Do you think the world needs it? Is there a need for it? Last but not the least, I'm sure nobody wants to do free work, right? We need to have financial stability as well. And Ikigai is very clear with it. Do you think you can be paid for it? And have your own threshold. How much do you want to be paid for? How much do you want to earn? 1 lakh, 1 lakh a day, 10 lakhs a day, 1 crore a day. How much do you want to get paid for? How much? And this how much has no limits, believe you me. This how much generally has no limits. When I decided that I want to open my own company because my dad wanted me to do a regular job, when I decided that I want to open my own company, and I was today I'm turning 35 within next month, I'm turning 35. And this is something somewhere around 27. When I said, listen, I want to open my own consultancy, own company. And my dad said it, how much are you going to earn? In literal language, if you ask me, my dad being a Baniya Marwadi asked me in this tone, kamaegi kya? मिलेगा क्या? टीचर बनेगी, प्रोफेसर बनेगी, ये पीपीएफ मिलता है, ये मिलता है, वो मिलता है, सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के मिलेगा क्या? And I said, don't worry. That time I did not know the Ikigai principle. I said, don't worry. Money is a byproduct. And when I'm saying this, guys, I work with this thumb rule. Money is a byproduct. If you know what you are doing, if you have your Ikigai in place, if you have all these elements in place, elements of profession, what you're skilled at, passion, what you love to do, inherent love, it actually allows you to wake up either at 4 a.m. in the morning, or even if you're sleeping at 3 a.m. at night, it doesn't really bother you because you love your work so much. Number 3, is it like your mission? Do you think that people need it? Do you want to change? Last but not the least, yes, your vocation, will you get paid for it? If you ask me, I would rather recommend all of you that whenever you have an opportunity, sit down and start thinking of your Ikigai. What is it that you are meant? What is it that you are destined to do in your life? We all have a purpose. There's a why behind everybody's what. We all have a purpose behind it. Believe you me, it took me years. It took me years to realize what I'm capable of. Why am I here? And that's when I say that whenever you have an opportunity, sit down and work on your Ikigai. Ikigai is not just about a book. Ikigai is a mindset. Ikigai is a way of life. Ikigai, as they say rightly, it's the reason for your being. Why are you here? Any career path you choose, it doesn't matter these days. But choose the one that at least you are passionate about. Because passion is the driving fuel over there. And yes, I think I can have my last slide because I would love to take questions. So who am I now? So today I'm a single mom. Took me 10 years to take a decision that I do not want anybody to raise his hand on me whenever he wants. Took me 10 years. I'm a mother of 2 beautiful kids now. And you can see that's my daughter and that's my son. Yes, I'm a mom, a full-time mom. I'm a very enthusiastic learner. As I told you, I'm off to Columbia University this year, November, if things are in place for 1 year to study. And both my kids are going with me. They're going to stay with me in the hostel. And yes, I'm a behavioral coach. I love to turn around people's behavior. And because I believe in myself, I believe that I can do it. And I have done that multiple times. My success rate so far, guys, has always been 100%. It has never gone down. And you know, the reason behind that is not because of the certifications I have. It's not because of the education that I've got. That is only one part of it. That is because of my own Ikigai. That is because of my belief in myself. Yes, I'm a leadership facilitator. I'm an image consultant. I help a lot of people. I do a lot of social work through UN. So I'm one of the practitioners with UN, where I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of single parents. I work with a lot of underprivileged kids across the globe, especially in Africa. And I help them to come up with their image. And I don't do anything different. I just make them realize their own inner power. As Buddha had rightly said, that all the answers are right there within you. So that's what I do with all these people. And yes, I'm a blogger. I love to write. I write a lot. My blogging is not about pictures. I'm a very bad person when it comes to pictures. My blogging is all about my sketches and my writing. Yes, I'm an influencer. People call me that I influence people's life. But last but not the least, I'm still a student. I was a student, I am a student, and I will be student. I'm always, always, always open to learning. There's a very popular saying, you stop living when you stop learning. So guys, at least I'm living right now. I'm learning every single day, different things. And that's who I am. If you want to ask me, what is it that you can do beyond normal? Think beyond normal. Think about your own ikigais. Think about it. What is it that drives you? What is it that motivates you? What is it that you're ready to put your 24/7 into it? You don't think twice before it. So think about the whys behind your what. Do not just blindly follow any path. Make your own path. Choose your own path. You know, by the time I was in 2012, I was devastated. A lot of my friends back in college, they were doing their PhDs. I was also doing my PhD, but not something the way I wanted to do. They were going outside the country to complete their PhD or postdoc. 70% of them unmarried. I was going through a very, very turbulent marriage. And I used to feel devastated that I'm good for nothing. Nothing. I carved out my own path. And I'm not saying that I've done a lot, but I just did what I felt was right. And I still do what I feel that's right. So on that note, girls, you've been listening to me. I am more than happy to answer any question that you have. That's the reason I can keep on talking and talking. That's my profession and passion. I can keep on talking and talking, but love to have your questions. Feel free to ask your questions. Any question under the roof, don't worry, don't hesitate, don't think, just ask.
Very inspirational, Megha. I think before coming in between you and the students, I'll allow them to ask first, and then I'll come in the picture. Truly inspiring. God bless you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It's all with the blessings of the people around me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your journey and experiences with us. It was amazing listening to you. Now I would request Chaitanya to please proceed with the question answer session. Over to you. Participants are requested to put up their queries in the chat box. Ma'am, I can see the chat box. A lot of people are appreciating, saying you're true inspiration for all of us. Ma'am, you have such a charming personality.
Thank you, guys. You should have seen me when I was like 95. And actually, the problem was not weight. The problem was my own confidence. The problem was the way I would look at myself in the mirror.
Good evening, ma'am. As of now, okay, we have a question now. From Khushi Soni, thank you for the guidance, ma'am. My question is how to stop using the loser's limp in my life.
Brilliant question, Khushi, because I think it's very easy to play the victim card. This is not good in my life. Why does this happen to me? Why it doesn't happen to me? Why others are so privileged? It's the easiest way to play the victim card. And that's the reason you have to take a decision. Do you really want to be a victim, or do you want to be a winner? So stop victimizing yourself. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, if you ask me. And that is for everything and anything. Everything and anything. If you ask me, for this loser's limp, probably get involved in some activities where you get to meet people who are underprivileged. I used to think the same way, that why am I going through this suffering? What wrong did I do? What was wrong in me? But when you meet different people from different walks of life, you realize that actually, no. Look at people around you. So try doing that. Khushi, it might help. It might help everyone, guys. If you ask me, Tihar does organize a lot of camps for the students who want to go and work in the placement center. Okay. And do not worry if you are getting feared. I've been attacked thrice in Tihar. And you know what was the attack about? Very interesting. One was, there was one convict. I was coming after my session. It was a 3-hour session. I was leaving. The guy came and he just holded my hand very tightly. Inside Tihar, you don't have any cops with guns and all. It's not like that. Everybody is a free bird inside. And the guy came and holded my hand very tightly. So obviously the officer saw it and he came and the guy said, listen, So he said in Hindi, ma'am, मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा, बस मेरी बात सुन लो आप. And the officer said, and very, very, very senior superintendent, he also came. He's like, बात क्या करनी है, मुझे बता दो. He said, ma'am, मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा, बस मेरी बात सुन लो. You know, the guy kept on holding my hand for 6.5 hours. And he had a terrible story. So guys, if you want to lose that loser's limb, start looking at other people's life. If you want to work at Tihar, let me know. Feel free. Swati has all the coordinates. Feel free to drop me a mail. I'll help you out.
Ma'am, the next question is from Megha Jangi. She asked that I feel not doing anything for particular days, and then the next day I feel bad about it. Why does that happen?
Exactly, Megha, because you need to figure out your ikigai. What are you good in doing? See, if you do something which you do not enjoy it, then it's a task. But if you do something which you thoroughly enjoy, you believe in it, then it's not a task. Most of the people in the country, it's a proven research in India, 76% people in the country are doing things which they do not like doing. And that's probably coming from a culture. It's the time to break that culture, change that culture. Try to find something. What is it that you enjoy? And do not compare yourself with others. Do not compare yourself. Anything that you enjoy, it could be exercise, gardening. Start doing something that you enjoy. There is career in anything and everything around you, believe you me. You need to start believing in it.
Ma'am, the next is how to realize our ikigai if we feel we don't have any proper skill. And I'll also add my question to this because it is somewhat similar. Sometimes our passion and our skills, they don't match. Like, for example, we're passionate for something else and we are hardworking towards it, but sometimes the things that we are good at, we cannot go through with that. So there's always, sometimes there's a conflict between what we want to do and what we should do. So how should we resolve that conflict? Because this is the thing that is actually going on in my life right now.
So Chaitanya, I'm going to ask you one thing. Guys, what's the definition of skill? Somebody's asked me, I don't have a proper skill. First, you need to change the definition of your skill. What is skill for you? Does skill mean engineering, medical, teaching? What is skill? I'm trying to tell you, you could be skilled. Even our mothers are skilled, the simple homemakers. Even the helps, the domestic helps, they're doing mopping. Why do your mother say that she does a better mopping, somebody does a better mopping, and somebody doesn't do a better mopping? What is skill? First, you need to start identify that. Even the way you make up your hair, that's a skill. That's a skill. You need to start identifying what is your skill. These days, so I recently met somebody last year, like before pandemic. I was in Mexico for some work. And what she does is, she said that, you know, I used to be so skilled towards making different kind of hairstyles, different kind of hairstyles. And she started making wigs only. She said there are a lot of people who actually suffer from, you know, bad hair. So what is a skill? First, you need to come up with that definition clearly. The skill, don't get me wrong, especially in our country, because I was at the same side. The skill was, listen, technically, if I can be a teacher, a professor, a corporate consultant, management engineer, doctor, that is fine. Skill is much beyond that. I realized my skill was that I could influence people. People would listen to me, and I made my skill into my profession. Now, if you ask me, that's not a skill. How many of you would say that, ma'am, I'm very good with making friends? And that's a skill. That's a skill. Are you good with kids? A lot of you might be saying, so I'm telling you, I am not good with kids. I can't handle my own kids. I am not good with kids. That's not the skill I have. Are you good with skill as kids? You have to figure out what are you good at. Once you figure out, change the definition of skill over here, and then start looking at your ikigai. First, you change the definition of skill. And please do not quantify skill with money. I'm honest with you. Money is a byproduct. Money would follow you. I'm not giving 3 idiots gyan. Believe you me, this is something I have experienced in my own life. I started with zero. I have done free work. My dad used to criticize me. Milega kya ye sab karke? So guys, do not run after money. Do not align your skill with the money. Stop this alignment. You focus on your skill, align it with your passion, and it will happen. Money is a byproduct.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Shruti Singh Mahapatra. How to overcome frustration regarding the constant negativities outside and how to move them away from myself.
Brilliant question, Shruti. But then tell me something. The world, you cannot have control over the outside world, right? You actually, so as a change practitioner, we always say external factors, nobody can control. Could anybody control COVID? Could anybody control pandemic? No, you cannot control the external factors. Yes, what you can definitely control is internally what you can do. So we always say, start leading change in a way that you start leading internal changes to thrive through external changes. Whether you like it or not, you cannot change your circumstances. You cannot change your conditions. Nobody can do that. Evolution, we all study, right? The theory. Nobody can change the external circumstances. And that's when we say survival of the fittest. So we have to become fit. We have to become strong. So Shruti, if this is the case, I think firstly, stop letting those external factors affect you so much. It's with everybody. Guys, come out of your own cocoon, start meeting people around you. And there's a lot of virtual things also happening. If you join different organizations, you will realize there's so much happening around the world. So stop victimizing yourself, start leading changes internally rather than doing it externally. That's how I have learned. Do not let external factors impact you. Don't do that.
The next question is from Yuktika Pandya. How to get the idea of Ikigai and what is your motivation which drives you towards the profession of entrepreneur, because it is seen very rarely in science students.
Guys, yeah, exactly. Why we're so stereotyping science students? Why does it come? Have you ever thought about it? Why people say, okay, I'll be honest with you. I have been told people when I said zoology and people are like, really? Zoology girls are so pretty? Why science girls, we have to look like nerds? You know, so I put up my makeup when I'm doing that, right? Why this stereotype is coming that zoology girl cannot be as pretty as the English honors girls or the history honors. Zoology girls are the ones, science, engineering, science people, medical, engineering, zoology, everything in the same umbrella. We have to wear glasses, have a nerdy look. Why the stereotype is coming? Listen, you have to really, really believe in yourself. I'm telling you time and again. If you have so much of self-doubts, if you have so much of negative image about yourself, I should do this, I should not do this, I'm telling you, do not follow anybody else's path. Create your own path. Every individual is different. So if you ask me, how can you overcome that? Start spending some time with yourself. I do it every day. I still do it. This is one activity that has changed my life. Figure out a time, either in the morning or the last thing, either the first thing in the morning or the last thing in the day. Sit down and think about yourself. What did I do right? What I could have done better? If you think you did something right, give a pat to yourself. I'm not asking you to write a diary. Sit down and start thinking about your own self. Become a little selfish over there, if you ask me. I'm a very selfish person. Every day I spend time with myself. Half an hour, 45 minutes. I just sit with my cup of coffee or tea, or even at times a glass of wine. I sit and I think, what did I do right today? And I feel good about myself. Yeah, this is something brilliant I did. I also think what I could have done better. And I'm like, yeah, let me try it out next day. But start spending time with your own self. You want to do it over walk, exercise, take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself. Somebody who wants to lose weight, somebody who wants to work on her looks, somebody who wants to work on her communication skills, take responsibility, take ownership of yourself. Do not say others that because of my food, because of my this, I'm like this. Stop saying, stop putting the blames on others. Stop victimizing yourself. Take responsibility, take charge. We call something called micro try. Guys, you know, right? You do anything for 21 days and it becomes a habit. So when you want to change something, do not look for massive changes. That becomes a concern. Try to look for small changes, small little things, which you can do repeatedly. We call them iterations. Do things in smaller iterations. Do one iteration. If you succeed, do second, do third. Take small steps in your life. Start micro try.
The next is from Tanu. She asks, how to find one's ikigai when one is not allowed to follow what one wants to do? And if we have found it, then how to follow it when you don't have even a single person to support you? That's
Great
a great
question.
question.
Great question. And I used to feel the same, that there's nobody supporting me, and genuinely believe you me, nobody supported me. Everybody thought image, makeup. I'm a certified makeup practitioner as well. And I learned makeup only for myself. I would always feel, I'm so sorry, guys. So I would always feel that why my few friends look better than me. So I'm a Marwadi. And I always used to think that, you know, guys, there's no stereotyping, but I used to think that Punjabi girls are so beautiful. They know how to carry themselves. I do not know. I did a makeup course because I wanted to learn. Okay. And let me tell you, all the courses I've done, very expensive, but I haven't taken a single penny from anybody. I've always funded my own education. You have to find out ways to do that. Do not look for people's support. Why do you look for others' acknowledgement? Why do you look for others' buy-in? So when I buy something, simple thing I'll tell you, if you're going for shopping, how many times do you ask your friends, listen, is it looking fine? Is it looking good? Am I looking fat? Am I looking dark? Am I looking tall? Why can't you ask? Why can't you do it yourself? Why can't you look at yourself in the mirror and just say, hey, this is how it's looking. Let me just take it. Why do you want others buy-in? Why do you want others acknowledgement? Why? For food, for lifestyle, for dresses. If you ask me, take the first step, stop asking for others buy-in. Why are you scared? How do you know somebody else is right and you are not right? Why do you want that kind of a support? If you're doing the right thing, eventually everybody will support you. Today, my dad is the one, because he's been interviewed by 2-3 news channels. For my papers got published in UN, and my dad was interviewed. Because he wanted it. Okay, let me also tell you, because he wanted it. So I asked them, because he wanted, listen, can you ask somebody to take my interview as well for 5 minutes? And my dad wanted it. I said, okay, fine. And then he's saying, listen, I'm so proud of her. I'm the one who supported her. And he's doing all that story thing. Huh? Everybody will support you once you're successful. And that's a story across the globe. You look at Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Jack Ma, nobody supported them when they did something different. Nobody, people criticize them. Once you're successful, everybody will support you. But the initial drill, initial struggle, you have to do it yourself. Do not ask somebody to handhold you. That will not happen. Be ready for the pain. There is no gain without pain, right? Be ready for the pain. It's a painful journey. Whenever you're wanting to do something, I told you, don't think that it's going to be an easy way. I have literally worked 22 hours in a day. I literally used to live out of suitcases. I would travel almost up to 300 days in a year, from one state to another state, to one country to another country, because I wanted to build up my profile. So it's not going to be easy. So be ready for the pain. And that time, do not look for somebody's shoulder or somebody's hand. Why I have to do it alone? Don't do all those things. You become firm, you become strong, and do it.
The next question, I'm sorry, cannot pronounce your name, but I'll take the question. Did you take, ma'am, did you take psychology in order to to become a behavioral coach? I'm so sorry.
So I did my master's in psychology between 2015 to 2017. So I did it through IGNOU. And I did that because I wanted to study psychology. And now there's a flagship program. It's actually a college degree, 3 years degree, which I want to do through Oxford. But it's just that my kids are too young that if I take them to Oxford for 3 years to stay with me. So that is when I'm going to do another program in my psychology. But yeah, I did just that 2 years program through IGNOU.
Next question is from Supriya Sharma. Sometimes I have very good ideas, but I'm always told that I have a weak flow in expressing them in terms of speech flow, and my personality show up. How can I work on it?
Start writing. Start writing. Really, really helps. You don't know how to come up with your idea? Start writing, sketching, dribbling, do anything, doodle, do anything. Write it. So, this lifespan is very less. Do not use your brain as a data or a memory center. Brain is supposed to be more creative. Do not put so much of pressure that you have an idea and you want to retain it over here. So you get an idea, let's say on 28th August at 5 p.m. and you think that by 5th September, you should remember that idea. Don't do that. Whatever comes different to your mind, start writing, start expressing yourself. If you are scared to express yourself in front of the outer world, do it to your inner world, do it to yourself. Do it. I meet so many lovely students. They have such brilliant profiles on LinkedIn. Do you guys have your profiles on LinkedIn? Do you guys, or it's just an Insta, Facebook profile? Do you share yourself over there? Do you put your thoughts over there? I have brilliant students from a lot of management institutes. Management institutes are the one where the kids will have their profile on LinkedIn. Do you have your profiles on LinkedIn? Do you use it? Do you express yourself? Do you know what's happening in the outer world? Or just like me, how I used to be in zoology, I'm just in my books, my lab. That's good. Do that. Put your 100%. But apart from that, are you aware of what's happening around the world? Make your LinkedIn profiles, girls. If you really want to work on it, make your LinkedIn profiles. Start reading, start expressing, try to comment on few things, what's happening around the globe. Join different groups over there. Get into conversations, and don't tell me that you don't have time for it, okay? It just takes half an hour in a day. I have scheduled myself half an hour in a day where I work on my LinkedIn. That's it. Schedule yourself. But if you think that vocally you can't express your ideas, try to do it in different ways. There are so many ways to express yourself. I told you, I've started sketching to express on leadership. What are my thoughts on leadership? Start doing that.
The next question is from Damayanti. How do we stop procrastinating?
Brilliant question. So Damayanti, again, I'll say the same thing, that procrastination only happens from people who are looking for excuses. Guys, I'm telling you, stop looking for excusing for yourself. Why are you excusing yourself from everything? At times, procrastination is the reason. At times, victim card is the reason. I don't have this. I don't have this. Nobody's supporting me. I am not good at this. Why? So this is called voice in your head. Okay. In psychology, we call it voice in your head. This is your fixed mindset. I will not do it today. I will do it tomorrow. And that's the reason I said, start doing micro tries. Okay. I always tell people, if possible, every 21 days, pick up a new habit. Pick up a new habit. I try to do it myself, and believe me, my habit could be also from changing my hairstyle or trying to have anything new. Do not look for anything massive. Try to break your own monotony every 21 days. Pick up any new habit. Either you pick up a book, either you pick up a story, either you pick up something with your look, either you pick up that, listen, you're going to record yourself and just see, you're going to change your communication, your oratory style. Pick up a new habit every 21 days. It will help you to change yourself. And you will also start feeling the difference within you. Pick up a new habit. So I think procrastination, that's the same thing, that you keep on delaying, because either you have a fear of failure, or you have a fear of being judged, or you have the fear of having biases around it. And these fears are all voice in the head. You have to keep these voices in their head. So we say that whenever people want to develop a growth mindset, guys, whatever questions you're asking me, that's actually a dichotomy of fixed mindset, that I do like this, people do not support and everything. And should I have a growth mindset that I can do anything and everything? If you want to move from fixed to growth, there are 3 steps to it. Step number 1, you have to see. See is what's the voice in your head. Whenever you're trying to do something, what does this say? Oops, what will people say? Oops, what will dad say? My friends are going to make fun of me. What if I fail? I can't do that. No, I don't have it within me. These are the triggers in your mind. Start recognizing them. Okay? Start recognizing. Second, think, do you want to change this narrative? Do you want to rewrite this narrative? So for example, if your fixed mindset says, I can't do this. No, it's not me. I don't have it within me. Do you want to change? Listen, even if I don't have it, I'm going to make sure that I develop it. Do you want to change your narrative? This is called positive affirmation. Start saying positive things to yourself. The world, it's manifestation. The world is all around manifestation. What goes around comes around. If you're so negative about yourself, you will only get negativity. Start having positive affirmations to yourself. If you think that your voice in the head says, I can't do this, my dad will never support, I'll get scolded. Think, do you want to change? And if you have done C, if you have done thing, the third step is, do you want to try doing? Pick up immediately a habit and work on it. Do not delay it then. If you've decided to change your narrative, to develop a growth mindset regarding anything, pick up a new habit. Change your pattern. If you think that you really like to sleep for 10 hours in a day, I think I meet a lot of people who say that, Megha, I love to sleep. So I barely sleep for 4 hours. And that's how I've trained myself. I always say my mind drives my body. If I've decided I'm going to sleep for 4 hours, I'm going to sleep for 4 hours. I party, I enjoy, I do everything. I work, I party, I do everything. Tonight also, because we have stepped out with few friends, I'm going to go out and party. So I don't have a dull and boring life. Being successful doesn't mean that you have a dull and boring life. You can have all the luxuries of life, but know how to balance it out. So if you sleep 10 hours in a day, you think that I love to sleep, reduce it to 9.5 first. Do it for 21 days. Reduce it to 9 first. Do it for 21 days. You want to lose weight? You eat 2 chapatis, bring it to 1.5 for 21 days. Bring it to 1 for 21 days. Start picking up small habits. It helps.
And the next question is the concluding question for the session, I think. So as for now, ma'am, please recommend some small steps that we can start today itself towards self-improvement from Priyanka.
So I just said that, Priyanka, whatever you want to work, start working on it immediately. I think first thing is when you look in the mirror, you should feel good about yourself. Stop criticizing yourself looking at the mirror. That's what I would say. I don't know how many of you say, my hair is not good, my skin is not good, my weight is not good. I don't know, but I don't know if you guys say that. Stop criticizing yourself. When you're standing in front of the mirror, feel good about yourself. Feel good. Second, start your day with a feeling of gratitude. Really, really helps. Be thankful what all you have got. There are people who are devoid of anything and everything. Guys, be thankful of what you have. And third, I told you it's very simple. Pick up a small habit that you want to change. Do it for 21 days. Pick up another one. Pick up another one. Don't stop this. Could be exercise, gymming, reading, writing. Don't say, I can't read books. Who said you can't read books? Have you tried? So try it. I can't write. I can't express myself. I can't communicate. A lot of people have said this to me. I'm not good with my presentation skills. Nisha ma'am is right here. She would tell you, I could not speak. I was the most shy girl in my batch, one of the most shy girl. I would not speak. I did not have the confidence. My communication, oratory, even the language, English, nothing was good. And nobody would help you. You have to help yourself. I have done extensive recording when I would talk. I would record myself, listen to it, rectify it. I would build up my vocabulary. I have done everything on my own.
Megha, I would like to intervene here.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, though you were introvert, though you were not able to express, but one good quality which you had with you was hardworking. And that is why you were here today. Disciplined. You were very disciplined. You were very hardworking. And if I'm not wrong, girls, I would like to share with you, she was the gold medalist of our BSc Honours Zoology. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So she's so humble not to open that up. And I'm sure by sharing her CV, Swati, she must not have, put that across. Am I right, Swati?
No, ma'am.
So one very important thing, girls, I think you can achieve anything, everything. 3 things which are very important is be disciplined to your life. Hard work always pays. And third thing, which I would always say, even if you rise, whatever, whatever good things come to you, be humble. That's the most important thing. And that all qualities Megha has.
Thank you so much, ma'am. But ma'am, do you remember? I'm sure you still do that. Nisha ma'am would have those beautiful notes. Guys, even our professors, they do so much of hard work. You know, we used to be astonished when we would see so much of notes. She would sit down, work, come up with different examples. So guys, I think that's what, ma'am, when I'm saying this is my humble submission. I say every time, whenever people ask me, what did you get from zoology? And I'm like, that's what taught me to become a hard worker. We don't shy away from hard work. We do that.
And I think that's the key to success, Megha.
Absolutely, ma'am. Like, there's no shortcut. As I said, I'm yet to meet a successful person who's not a hard worker.
And one thing which I like, the statement which you made, growth and comfort cannot be together, but there's definitely a comfort in growth.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, wonderfully put.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Swati, I think Dr. Thareja is trying to unmute herself, but I think due to connectivity, she's not able to. Ma'am, you're audible, but faintly audible. Your voice is cracking.
I think I could also listen to the talk in broken, hello,
Yeah, you're audible now, partly.
audible. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think I can go ahead with. She had it, given a very motivating talk. It was awesome. And introduction of Ikiman, Ikigai, whatever term she introduced, I think will be really motivating for everybody. Now, in fact, you have given a number of qualities. I would like to add one to it. We have, in fact, so I think Meghna, the most thing that we learn from zoology honors is identify specimen in a real way. In fact, I was reminded of a talk a few days back by another speaker, where she said that we remember identification by head tone or body tone or some such kind of comments. So there should not be any judgment when it comes to identifying the specimen. And you were able to identify yourself. And many things, in fact, you replicated in your doing, which in fact you have must have learned the replication in the biochemistry experiments. So in fact, the zoology has given you quite a lot, and quite a lot in connecting of zoology with the career that you are pursuing. And it's not a defined kind of career that you're pursuing. It is so vast that anything can be picked up from the careers that you have adopted by the students. And it's very thrilling, very motivating. And in fact,
Ma'am, we cannot hear you now. Ma'am? Ma'am has left the meeting.
I think Swati must be
There must be a
network.
network issue, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am is here.
Hello?
Ma'am? You're not audible, ma'am.
One thing very important to highlight is that Meghna, you have identified experiments in the past.
Ma'am, we couldn't get the question, ma'am.
Ma'am's network is unstable, I guess.
I believe ma'am is trying to talk about the self-awareness that that's what I could figure it out, that if we are able to have some reflection, have some awareness about who we are, I think that's what I could figure out, which is so right. And I think she was also talking about the structure that zoology, and yes, I agree, zoology has taught me to bring in
Yes, ma'am.
structure in my life.
I think Swati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't hear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We cannot hear her. She's trying to join, but
I think it would be wise, ma'am, in case if you can join with phone, that would be better. You'll be able to connect in a better way as compared to your laptop. Am I right, Swati? I think this would be better.
Yes, ma'am.
Or maybe, Megha, what I'll do, I'll take question from ma'am. And, you can answer on that later.
I'll do that, ma'am. Anytime.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaitanya, for taking up the question answer session, and ma'am for answering so beautifully. And you answered all our questions very, very, very nicely, ma'am. And that was really wonderful listening to you. Now, I will request Damayanti Dasgupta, the co-editor of Synapse, to please proceed with the vote of thanks on behalf of the entire zoology department. Over to you, Damayanti.
Just a minute, Swati, and sorry, Damayanti, to intervene. Megha, do follow our page. These girls are really working hard. So, Swati will share the links with you. Do follow our page, zoology department page of Miranda House. And in case if you need to give some inputs, do give us.
Definitely, definitely, I'll do that. Always happy to help Swati. And of course, my own zoology department, it's helping myself. It's working on myself. So I'll definitely do that, ma'am. Swati, please share the links with me and I'll be happy to
ma'am.
support you on that.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. God bless you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, Damayanti, you may please proceed with vote of thanks.
Yes, Swati, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. So I, on behalf of the entire Synapse Union and the entire zoology department, would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Megha Mittal ma'am, for gracing this event and sharing with us your valued opinions. You really helped us look at life with a different perspective and motivated us to think beyond our small circles and begin our journey towards finding our Ikigai. Thank you, ma'am, for giving your precious time and for all your cooperation and support, even in this online mode and even from such a distance. We are really inspired by your words. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank our principal, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Nanda ma'am, for providing us with the opportunity to organize this event, and to Dr. Nisha Vashish ma'am and Dr. Yasha Yadav ma'am for their constant support and guidance. None of this would have been possible without them being here with us. I would like to extend my thanks to the president, the vice president, the general secretary, the event managers, and all the other union members of Synapse for making this event so successful. Last but not the least, I would extend my gratitude to the audience for their active participation, for asking so many questions, and for always being there with us throughout this session. None of this would have been possible without them. So thank you to all of you who attended this session. Over to you, Swati.
Thank you so much, Damayanti. Nisha ma'am, so
Yes, Swati.
ma'am, would you like to say something or shall we end the session?
Yeah,
ma'am?
we can wrap up, Swati, and because I think we're clicking with the time. And secondly, in case if Yasha ma'am is there, I could see her initially. Maybe Megha could relate with her because they are almost contemporaries.
Ma'am, Yasha ma'am was there earlier, but she is not here now. Thareja ma'am is here.
Who is there?
Thareja ma'am is here, but I'm not sure.
Is she able to unmute?
Thareja ma'am, can you hear us?
I think maybe she's able to hear us, but she's not able to.
Able to reply, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. All right then. Okay, Megha, all the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I don't
Thank
know
you for
about
giving your valuable time to us.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Always a pleasure. Guys, I don't know about you girls, but when we were in college, we also wanted to become like Nisha ma'am. She would inspire all of us with everything what she would do. And I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Even for the last few years, I haven't been able to meet ma'am. But ma'am, you have been continuously there to encourage and support. So guys, believe me, you are privileged. Privileged with all the support system that you have. Try to make the most of that privilege.
Megha, I still remember the day of our trip. You sitting next to me and Gitanjali. We
Yes.
had a long chat. I think throughout the night we kept chatting.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm always privileged to be with good students. It's my good luck.
ma'am, you turn around students, and students eventually become good when they're around you. And it's a genuine privilege the way you touch our lives, and in fact all the professors, guys. But I remember Nisha ma'am, we used to look at her and we wanted to become like her every way. I don't know about you guys, we would want to become like her, the way she would dress up, the way she would talk, the way she would charm others in the classroom. And I think that's what, ma'am, you're still the same person. I wish I could be even 1% of what you are even today. I don't know if we can become that.
I'm so glad to hear that, Megha.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am continues to inspire us even today, and I absolutely agree to what you said. She is a ball of energy. She'll be motivating us throughout the session, not only in studies, but in every aspect of our life. I have seen ma'am is so supportive. She will ask you, is there anything that how she can help us in, and she'll guide us through that. And even this all the sessions we have been doing, the lecture series, it's all possible because of her guidance and feedback. So thank you, Nisha ma'am. Thank you so much for always being there with us.
Thank you, dear. It's always a learning from you all. I'm still a student.
Yes, Nisha ma'am, we have a virtual high five. As I said, that even I'm a student, we are all students. But thank you so much. Keep inspiring, keep touching all our lives, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. God bless you. I'll stay connected.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me over. Absolute pleasure. In case you need any of my help, any support, you can write me an email. Always happy to help out in my all the capacity, or like me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta. I'm not really that much towards the students things and helping out. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or over email. I'll be happy to help you out.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Goodbye.
Wishing you a great week ahead, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.